Hey guys, it's me again, Orc Slayer with us here. Where we last left off, let's see, checking. Where we last left off, Bell and Saruman and all of them are moving to the next few, like a more major village with defenses, because they just got attacked by an orc raiding party. And Bell's father believes that if this is the case and that they had some coordination to send orcs around back to try and attack the defenseless, as well as having signals to retreat and to retreat and such, and they also have wargs. Takes a lot to tame wargs and keep them together without having a warg eat their people. So he's guessing that there's either a larger person at play, or not a larger person, but a leader of some sort, or this was just a group of more veteran orcs. And they did lose a few people, but they also took a few of those orcs out thanks to Saruman. And Bell took out a few when they tried to sneak around. He killed at least 4. Using sword and spell. So, Bell is traveling. They all gather up what they need. They gather food, they gather water, they gather their clothes, and Bell gathers some of his stuff. Grabs on his good pair of shoes, traveling shoes, and he tried to return the staff back to Saruman, but Saruman believes that Bell would actually probably do better with it, just in case an orc tries to jump out at him. And Bell doesn't have a sword ready, he can use some spells. Bell tries to say that, well, he doesn't have any other offensive spells besides the Shatter one. And he's like, not anymore. As Saruman quickly tells Bell that he'll begin him on training him some light offensive magic. Aside from Shatter, there's also a few. There's like one like light fireball or firebolt. There's also lightning bolts and a few magic bullets, as he would call it, or magic arrow, where he explains it as magic arrow is pretty much the entirety of essence of magic, but fireball and electric are things like lightning strikes and fire. Those are put into like a form and sent out at your enemies. I'll be teaching you low-level versions of these to start off with. It'll be up to you if something were to happen to me during this time to train it up yourself. You may even want to head to a city where there's more mages, just in case. Bell's like, alright. As Bell and them all start traveling. Bell doesn't have any sort of special thing. He just wears, like, I would say normal village clothes. He has like a nice little vest, a shirt, pants, and everything. So that way, he's okay. He also has his little sword and his staff. As Bell's traveling with them, he's like on one of the carts. So that way the children don't have to walk. Every now and then Bell will get down and try to keep up with them, but then after a while he'll like try to get back to the cart to get back on. Bell's father notices this and he questions him. Stay on the cart, Bell, alright? We don't need you falling behind. You're still growing and you ain't as big and tall yet, so just wait. Alright? Just enjoy. It's like, okay, Dad. He's like, good. Now I gotta go up. I'll go check on your mother. As Bell's mother is one of the few who have like children riding in their spots, or other like elderly riding in her spots, so she's walking on her feet as well. It's like, we weren't a very large village, but we had enough. It's like, so what now? Well, as for defense, we've given some of the older lads who aren't really adults yet, but they should be old enough to be able to hold a weapon steady. Or at least some of those farm equipment, like the scythes and the pitchforks. They may not do much against armor, but from what we can tell, these orcs aren't really equipped the best. And they work well against wargs if they hold their ground. As Bel's just like kicking his feet, like doo, 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 doo. Saruman's on a horse, having ridden one. Saruman, as they all like stop to take a break and give the horses a rest, Bel and Saruman go back and practice. Like so, Bel, I'll teach you the beginning of Firebolt. Well, of Magic Bolt. It's the easiest one of the few to learn. He starts saying, now imagine, as he starts giving him pointers, that a magic is like concentration a little bit. Not a lot, and you don't want to overdo it by creating a magic missile, as he would call it. What does magic missile do? It can shatter stones by itself, giant rocks by itself, so focus on a little bit of concentration and just think of Magic Bolt. As then he's like, alright, Magic Bolt. As he says it, and it goes flying right out like pew. He tried without his staff at first, and the bolt was going, it doesn't go crazy, it just wasn't on point. Like he was aiming at a tree, but it landed a yard or two away from it. He's like, now try with the staff. It's like, Magic Bolt, as he sends it flying, as then it hits the tree, taking off a little chunk of it. Not a lot, just a chunk. Like, if you got your fist, it's like the size of Bel's fist, is how big the hole was. It went straight through, but, like I said, just the size of his fist. And I was like, that's cool. It's like, yes. Now focus on that in a few days I'll teach you more about some of the others like Firebolt and Lightning Bolt. Alright? He's like, yes sir. It's like, good. As Bel continuously trains, trying to keep it as fast as he can, like trying to memorize the setting and shoots it out. It's like, good Bel, good. As it takes him a few days to travel the roads. And on this third day, they arrive at the other village, but, well, some of the people look ragged, and some of the, guards came rushing out as soon as they saw them. Like, these are innocent people, let them in! Their walls are made out of wood, they're not stone, so, yes. They don't have a moat or a gate. Well, I guess they have a giant wooden door, essentially, but not like a full-on drawbridge. As Bel and them all get in, they're like, what's happened? It's like, orcs have been coming in the middle of the night, keep on trying to raid the walls. Thankfully, they only have ladders. They're easy to repel, thankfully. We haven't met anything else, just low-level orcs and goblins. It's like, we got attacked a while back at our village. There was at least 30 of them. It's like, As Bel is told that that some of the guards that came with the people are saying, we've lost some of our own family members and such to some of the orcs that go over the wall. For the guards, we'll need you in top shape, so you and your families are gonna stay in these vacant houses. Saruman asked to speak with their chief, the village chief. As he goes off and speaks to him, he's like, Bel, we shall train more later, alright? It's like, yes, Master Saruman. As he runs off to go be with his mom and dad, asking his dad, so, are we staying in one of the people's houses? He's like, yes. A few of the ones had fallen in battle. They give us permission to stay in their houses. Be grateful, Bel. He's like, yes, father. As then he gets in there and just, sits down on one of the bed. Like, wait, they have a children's bed. Where's the kid? As Bel's father keeps quiet, and Bel's like, oh. His mother's like, oh, don't worry, honey. We'll be safe here in the meantime. Your dad and your wizard friend are actually going to stay and protect us. Saruman, as we switch to Saruman, he's like, I'm on a mission. Well, not on a mission, but I'm traveling back to the city of, I'll say Isengard. He's like, city of Isengard. Why are you heading there? There's a council of wizards up there. and they sent me out on a mission to research and to do some reconnaissance, you could say. As I'll say, Saruman's part of a wizard hierarchy, where there's the top wizards, like sort of like the titles of the white and such. I'll say Saruman. I'll take back what I said. Saruman isn't Saruman the White. The colors belong to the people at the top of the thing. So, like the gray, the white, and the brown and the blue. The brown is like the third strongest. The gray is the second strongest. And the white is the strongest out of all of them. So, as Saruman, and Saruman's ambition is to become the strongest there and to lead them, having ideas on what he could do, because they prohibit the study of dark things, but Saruman believes that to be able to fight it, you must understand it. It's sort of like his idea. They banned it after someone similar had the ideas, but they became corrupted, as you would say. Saruman says that the Council of Wizards would be interested in hearing this, but how many other villages do you know of have been attacked by orcs? The ones I'm traveling with right now were attacked. The numbers were small, but they seemed organized. What about here? Well, they seem plenty organized as well. They come at us during the nighttime. They rain arrows down. And sometimes they have fire arrows. That's why some of the houses are gone. Been focusing on keeping the walls safe since they assault us every night. Every night they attack us with at least 50. And most time we kill a few, they retreat, they come back with the same number. We've been losing a few men every time. Either due to lucky arrows or them getting pulled down into the thing with all the others and getting torn apart. A wizard would really help. It's like, being me and the gods will do what we can. Well, he says, I will do what I can, but I won't make promises upon the gods. But, sorry, why am I yawning? I'm not tired. He explains that the guards have their own decision, but he believes that if they just offer them safety and shelter, that they would be willing to stay. Now, is there an open area that there is for him to use? He's like, why? I'm training a young wizard. He has proven useful in defending a little bit, but he hasn't done much. So I'm teaching him more abilities to use. He's like, oh, yes, if you're training another one, head that way. And there's another one. His name's Radagast. He's a bit on the young side, but he is pretty talented. He has a very good relationship with animals and the forest in general. In fact, he's actually one of the main reasons when we know orcs are gathering to attack us, and the numbers. He talks to the birds. They come in and out, and they feed him information. Then there's also the underground animals like moles and such. He has very good friends with animals, and it has saved us a few times. Some birds even bring him berries and such to eat. That being said, feel free to use that area for as long as you need. And we would ask him, could you see if you could help him a bit more too? It's like, very well. As then Saruman calls for both of them and says that you two, as Saruman actually asked for one of the guards to retrieve him. Radagast being brought to him, his father being killed, so is his mother being killed in one of the attacks. Radagast has sort of just become numb, you could say. Just like, oh, it's alright. As then he realizes that he's needed for helping these people with information. So as when Saruman calls for him, he's a very tall man. So this small child, he would say, would probably be around 10 years old. I would say 3 years younger than Gandalf. speaks with them, saying that, well, what happened is like, so, any other magic you can use aside from animal speech? He's like, yes, I can use this, as when he puts his hand on the ground, well, not puts his hand, but taps a staff on the ground, which he has a staff, it's made completely out of wood, taps it on the ground, like, very lightly, a bunch of roots come around, and, like, swing around a rock, or, like, a little pole. Saruman's like, ensnare. That is a very good magic. And, Bell, have you been practicing the magic spells I've been teaching you? He's like, yes. Hit that pole he just used. He's like, Radagast, please stand back. As he's like, yes, sir. As he walks quite a bit, like, next to Saruman. Bell's like, focus, and he shoots off 3 magic bolts in a very quick succession, like, pew, pew, pew. Like, in quick succession. Like how elites typically fire plasma bolts from their plasma rifles in Halo. Annoying bastards. Anyways, as Bell does this, Saruman's like, well done, Bell. Now, Radagast, I'm going to teach you a few defense spells aside from ensnare. As then he's like, Bell, what I would like you to focus on is a little firebolt. It's a very quick spell, and it's launched primarily from your hands. If you need it, the catalyst would help with, your staff would help, but you should focus on quick, as it's specifically made for a quick little attack, similar to Magic Ball. So he's like, wait, so if I focus, I can just go, as he stretches out his hand, Magic Bolt, as he's been practicing it quite a lot in time. And it's actually on point this time. He's like, well done, your accuracy is well, Bell. Now think with Firebolt, as he's like, Firebolt, as he does it, and it's a quick little spray of fire. It's like, continue practicing. I'll tell you about Fireball and the other upgraded versions of these. Understand, Bell? He's like, yes, sir. It's like, now continue practicing. Firebolt, shield, Firebolt, shield. As he's like, alright, Radagast. Later that night, Radagast was speaking with some of his animals as he ran to tell the captain of the chieftain of the village. A bunch of orcs are gathering. Birdie says that there's at least twice as many as there were before. He's like, oh, dang it. Hey, go grab Saruman. As Saruman was resting his eyes for a minute, because he's been up for a little while. As Deku was still practicing with some of his magic, and actually practicing with his sword, like a little sword, a few of the guards are like, well, look at that kid. As his father actually came over a little bit beforehand and started training his son a little bit more, trying to get him, as he's like, you're smooth with your motions. Remember, keep it up. As he's like, watch me. As he starts showing his son a bit more advanced moves. As his father quickly switches from defense to offense, and actually seems like he's actually fighting a real opponent. This is known as Shadow Play, son, where you imagine the enemy's force and feeling of a blow coming right at you. It may take you a while to actually get it, since your combat experience is less. You can't remember the force of an impact from a sword, an actual sword, and from an actual enemy trying to kill you. It took me a while for me to get the impressions of enemies who attacked me. For everything from orcs to wild bandits to even a troll at one point. He's like, you fought a troll? He's like, that's a story for another time. Now, as it's like, sir, we need you at the walls. A mass of over 100 orcs are coming to attack. He's like, what are our numbers? We have over 50 troops ready to defend the walls, but to throw back over 100 may be a bit more difficult. We are having the wizard come assist us. Saruman's like, I wouldn't mind. Now, to defend these walls. Radagast, your birds are correct, to be sure. It's like, it wasn't just the birds, it was the moles and such. They came and spoke to me. They are coming for sure, with over 100. And it's like, Bell, he's like, yes, sir? I want you to watch. I am about to show you more advanced magic and control.
Try to stay down and stay between where the arrows would not hit you. And keep your shield up, just in case. I want you to focus on using that shield to defend the troops. The walls don't cover them. They ain't like a castle walls. So Bell's job will be focusing on keeping arrows off them. It's like, now remember, I will take care of this section. You take care of that section of troops. He's like, yes, sir. As he runs over, holding up an entire, covering 10 men. As they use their arrows, as the arrows fly through the Deku's shield and land on the orcs after they came rushing down. That's like, that looks a bit more than just 100. It's like, it is. As Saruman's casting firebolt and not firebolt, but fireball and lightning, as men with bow and arrows are launching arrows, Bell is keeping the arrows off their men. As on the other side, a ladder has made up, and Bell's father's like, I'll take care of this, Saruman. As he takes 10 soldiers with him to hold that point, as not Bell's forces, but the wall's forces stretch across the period. They've kept a 7 or maybe 10 soldiers on the other side to keep that area defended on the other side, just in case orcs try to come from the other direction. A small number of them, 12, come rushing, went around quite a long ways and try to rush from the back, but soldiers with arrows were waiting for them. As then Bell and his father and Saruman forced the orcs off the wall, with Bell's force field not wavering for a second. He even managed to shoot off a few magic bolts to a few of the orcs, knocking several of them down, and actually getting a few of them actually killed. The soldiers were like, well done, boy. As the attack was called off after they heard the... I'm gonna do the sound effect, I'm sorry. The... with the whole little onslaught retreating. It's like, they lost quite a lot today, men. Tomorrow we'll go out and scavenge their gear. Some orcish pig iron, the iron from orcs, though it may be, their weapons may be a bit savage, they are actually very effective cutting through armor. Most of you men only have straight swords. Good to have some orcish pig iron. Bell's father commands them, as tomorrow, a few of them go out right now to do it, as then an arrow comes sailing, getting a guy in the neck as he's like, oh god. As Bells puts up the force field again without a second thought, as he saw where that arrow came from, just barely, and then sends out a firebolt hitting the orc right in the chest, causing it to fall down from a tree, as it's like, crashes to the ground. It's like, well done with the use of fireball, Bell. It's like, thank you, Master Saruman. Now, as for the rest of you, get a night's rest. Have several scouts patrol the wall at all times. Get some rest, Bell. You have earned it. He's like, thank you, Master Saruman. Remember, keep practicing. Practice makes perfect, and I have taught you the perfect way to practice. Like, yes, sir, as Bell goes to sleep. His father and Saruman stay up, talking about how Bell is a pretty good student and learning. He's like, Saruman speaks with Bell's father is that though they haven't known each other long, he was planning on taking an apprentice next time he returned to Isengard, the home of the council of, the main base for the council of wizards in this land. And that if he wishes, he could take Bell on as somewhat of an apprentice. Bell's gift is astounding, and he could teach him a lot more in just a few months. He's like, I don't know, as you say, we just met you. He's like, yes, indeed you did. But it is completely up to your choice. I will not force you to go with them. He's like, thank you. As he shakes his hand, and thanks for your help today. No problem, sir. It is my duty as the wizard and protector. See you later. May I bid you farewell and good night. Like, thank you. May one be with you as well. As Bell's father walks into the house, as they take a rest, and pretty much collapse into bed. Bell was tired after that thing. He used a bit of magic. Though his shield did not waver, he was concentrating a lot on that. So, yeah. Anyways, this is where I'll be ending it off on. I hope y'all have enjoyed this. Hope y'all continue to enjoy this. Hope y'all have a nice day, nice night, nice life.